What's going on? Welcome to episode 3 of the TekBloid live podcast. We do this
Yes.
every Wednesday, 6 p.m.
Thursday.
Pacific. Sorry, every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific. I am GregglesTV. This over here is
Michael from Initial Focus.
he's awesome. Make sure you follow him on YouTube if you don't already. He's a great guy. We're going to talk tech. We have a bunch of stories that we're going to talk about. If you have any questions at all, leave it in the chat. The chat's either going to be at the bottom if you're using a mobile device, or if you're on the computer, it's probably over to the right. So just ask anything you want, any shout outs, whatever you want, guys. First story that we're going to talk about today is the free gear VR if you buy a new Samsung phone before June 19th. Now, Michael, when you bought the Samsung Galaxy S7, were you lucky enough to get the free gear VR?
So I got it when that promotion was going on, but since I bought it full price and not on a contract, it was a no-go. So I don't know if they're doing the same deal this time, because it was a free gear VR and then a like 64 gig micro SD card or something like that.
Okay, did you get it from Best Buy?
Yes.
That's why, yeah. That's the same thing I did, but I did it on a contract. Well, whatever their payment plan. So I did it like that. Yeah, this one's cool because it looks like you get, and it's with all three phones. So it's if you get a Galaxy S7, Galaxy S7 Edge, Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, Galaxy S6 Edge, Galaxy X6, and a Galaxy Note 5.
Pretty much all the latest stuff.
So they're treated to the bundle, and that includes a free Gear VR headset and a bunch of content, including games and apps, which basically sounds like the same thing that they gave when they did it when we were getting our phones. And they're doing this, as we both know, because the new Note phones are going to be coming out in 2 months exactly.
Yeah, and I wonder if they took notice of the big OnePlus marketing thing of the free headsets. But no, it's obviously always cool. I think when I picked up the S7 Edge, it was a fantastic bundle to get a free Gear VR, because it was a great gateway into the world of virtual reality. I think as far as the untethered, uncustom PC headsets go, it's one of the best out there. And if they throw it in and you're picking up a new phone anyway, it's a pretty good deal, I'd say.
It's definitely the best, cheapest VR headset you can use. It's so good. We've spoken about it before, but it's a little bit pixelated at times. That's probably its biggest downfall. But it's cool.
Where a 4K phone would be useful.
The other problem, yeah, exactly. But the other problem I find with it is if you use it too long, the phone overheats.
Yes,
and that sucks. So and it's kind of scary. The phone gets so hot, you actually feel like you're burning your hand. You have to put it down after a while. So we're still not there in terms of your phone being the main Gear VR viewing device for you, because it just gets too hot too quickly. And
I'm
I think
sure
that's
developers will definitely be limited as far as how crazy of games and stuff for general like VR demos, and again testing out and getting into the world of VR. It's a great starter to kind of get into before you go spend crazy money on a Vive or an Oculus or something. But yeah, like you said, I did notice when it's on your face, you don't, at least I didn't feel any heat or anything. But when I took the phone out, it was, whew. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely gets too hot. So our next story is along the same lines as the Samsung phone, and this one is talking about the Galaxy Note 5 being America's favorite phone, which is kind of surprising because Apple is so beloved and Apple can do no wrong in so many of America's American citizens' eyes, that I'm actually quite shocked that the Note edged out, no pun intended, the iPhone 6s Plus. Are you surprised by that?
Yes and no. I'm not as surprised that the iPhone finally was surpassed as one of the favorite phones out there. I'm a little surprised that it was the Note 5 that did it. mostly because I mean I would think it would be the latest. Like I honestly would expect like the S7 Edge to beat it out, and it's probably just because it hasn't been out as long,
Yeah.
so it hasn't had enough time to sell as many units and things like that. But um, my good friend has the Note 5, and so I've played with his quite a bit. And we were talking about it before we started the stream. It's a good phone. Um, I I don't know if I agree with it being, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible from being an iPhone nerd, but um, I, I don't know if a last year's model phone, because the Note 5 came out before the 6S Plus, I believe. I can't.
Um, it came out before. Yeah, you're right. It did come out before. But the thing is that the Note series of phones is always it's always Samsung's most powerful phone
Yeah.
every year, and they actually the Note 5 was probably the first Note phone that was almost perfect, almost lag free. After a while, it did lag, but it was one of the first phones that kind of got rid of that Samsung lag that it always has. It still had it, like you said, but some people it won't happen to. But if you have a lot of apps on your phone, and you have a Samsung phone, it will lag, and that sucks. And I think when the Note 6 or 7, whatever they call it, comes out in August, I think it's going to be even better, and it's going to be crazily specced out. As we've spoken about it before, 6 gigabytes of RAM, Snapdragon 823. Amazing. There's even talk it might actually have a 4K screen, which is Sony has one, but it's selective on when it is 4K. Samsung, if they do it, they're gonna do it right,
Yeah.
and they make the best screens in the market. At least I think they do. Anyway, you might be Apple. You might think Apple does, but I think Samsung. To me, Samsung does.
No, I mean Samsung. I mean they've obviously been in the TV game so long that gives them a huge advantage in the display department. So they definitely, especially OLED and especially curved. I mean, they're kind of probably the first, or at least one of the first brands that if you just say who's a good display maker for computer monitors, phones, or TVs, Samsung's going to be near the top. That's for sure. The I can definitely see because it's power users, it has a pen, things like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I never use that thing though, dude. I'm like, it's there. It's cool to have. It's a really nice thing to be like, hey, look what my phone has that your phone doesn't have, and I can hover my pen over the screen, and the screen knows where my pen is. Like that's some really cool stuff. But I personally never use it at all.
I feel like it's on the same equivalence as, since the Note 5 and the 6S Plus are both, 1 and 2. I feel like the pen is the same equivalent unique feature to the 6 Plus as the 3D Touch, where both are unique features, both are cool, and when you show it off and when you use it yourself, it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. But in your daily practice, and I don't know if it's because they're not good enough features or society just hasn't, we just haven't forced ourselves to learn to use it too much. But yeah, I mean, congrats to Samsung. I mean, they literally have, excluding the second spot of, I'll throw up so you guys can see the chart again here, but excluding the number 2 spot for the 6S Plus, they literally have the top 3 other phones. So first and third and fourth place before the iPhone 6S takes 5th. Yeah. So they're doing something right.
Congrats to Samsung. So let's change subjects a little bit and talk about Apple. Apple's I guess it's their new MacBook Pro. Is that what they're talking about?
Yes. So WWDC, so Apple's big event.
Let's give you a shout out. So did you say you saved that that little chat thing you did, right?
Yes. So
tell the people about your WWDC chat.
So on my channel yesterday, I did a WWDC expectations. So it was about 40 minutes, and I just kind of talked about all the things to expect from WWDC. So iOS 10, the new version of macOS, and hopefully some new hardware, and answered some questions there. So that was a lot of fun. And one of the things that I did talk about then, and I want to mention here because I want to get your input on it, as well as anyone in the chat section down below or off to the side, because I think this could be, if they do it, one of the coolest features and one of the biggest features in Macs I've seen in a while. So when I first saw the Mac Rumors title here, I was very confused. Again, I'll throw up the screen here. Because it talked about an OLED touch panel on a MacBook Pro. And last podcast, I believe we talked about touchscreens on Macs and how I said it'll never happen. So I see this article and I thought I almost had a foot in my mouth. But what it is basically is, here, one sec.
Oh, don't worry. Don't mind him. He's just, he has to go to the bathroom real quick. Oh, he's back.
Sorry, I wanted to grab this for a better visual. So on Macs and pretty much every laptop out there, you have these the buttons at the top, which are usually always reserved for your function keys, your display brightness, your volume rockers, and all that good stuff. And so the latest rumor here is that the top, where those buttons usually are, on this shell of a MacBook that apparently is a leaked image, is actually reserved for an OLED touch sensor. So the screen itself would still be an LED panel Retina display, but the little bar at the top could be a touch OLED panel, which I think is awesome for a number of reasons. One, because yes, it's cool. I had an old HP in the day that actually had a capacitive touch top, which was nice, but there's a Razer laptop that came out, I think, 2 years ago. It's like the Razer Blade or something.
It's out now, dude. The new one. Oh my god, I want it.
Well,
it's only $1,000.
It has a track, or the trackpad is actually a secondary screen, and it has like different buttons that you can program to do different things for gaming, which is awesome. So the application that I see here is developers could create shortcuts. And it's kind of it's going back to the days of the original iPhone took away physical keyboards because, well, to make developers the screen anything they want. So here, for example, if I'm in Photoshop, the developer, Adobe, I could see them teaming up and they could put quick shortcuts or video editors shortcuts for Premiere at the very top. And of course, Apple would build it into Final Cut. I mean, I can see 1,000 applications for a touch bar at the top. I think that'd be an awesome move in the right direction.
Did they say when this is gonna? Fourth quarter, 2016.
So the way Apple's always done it in the past, at least, I'm not sure what this article is saying. The way that usually works is if they announce this at WWDC, within a week or two, they will be available. Now they could pull like what they did with the Mac Pro, where they just teased it at WWDC and then it wasn't until December that it started to be available, which sucked. But the other big thing besides the OLED is the fact that it will come in space gray, just like the MacBook does, which is super sexy and I love it. As well as Thunderbolt 3, which is the USB-C. And it is rumored to have 4 USB-C ports or Thunderbolt 3 ports.
I love the comments down below. No MagSafe, no SD card slot. Sigh. All I see is a huge watermark. Where's the SD card slot? There's something that a Pro machine should not be without. MagSafe? Where's MagSafe?
If you want some good laughs, you go to the Mac Rumors comment section. There's actually, for anyone who feels the same, because I honestly do, like MagSafe was always such a small but such an amazing feature. So I do miss it on my MacBook. However, there are a decent amount of third-party applications who have actually built a USB-C. You plug it in, it's a little dongle, and then it's a magnet.
Stuff.
And it's basically a makeshift MagSafe. So it's not perfect, but
no, they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Hello, Captain CT.
Because they're making.
Yeah.
How do you know someone's in the chat? What the hell? And hey, what's up? So they're moving in the right direction because USB-C is you love USB-C, I already know, but it's gonna be in all their devices, and they're most likely. Do you think they're gonna? I think they're gonna get rid of the Lightning cables maybe not this year, but what? Maybe the eighth edition of the phone, probably.
Uh, I'd be totally fine with it this year. I mean, the
I
hard
know
part is,
you would, but I think a lot of people would be pissed. Like,
oh yeah, people, when I worked at the stores when the switch from the 30 pin to the lightning happened, and I got screamed at every day for a year of people outraged. And that was the first time Apple, people don't realize the original iPod from 2001, that's a lie. That was Firewire. But shortly after that came out with the 30 pin. And that was the first time Apple ever changed a proprietary cable in 11 or 12 years. So the fact that if they changed to USB-C just after 3 or 4, people would be pissed.
I know they would.
I'm all for it. I think anyone in the tech community, if they did it, the way to do it would be for them to come out with 2 cables.
I wonder if they do
or do like a trade-in, like they can,
or a cool adapter thing.
Yeah, knowing Apple, they would have 5 adapters to.
But you know what? I wonder once they do jump to USB-C for charging. I wonder if all the Android phones that already do it now are going to make fun of them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, make fun of whoever you want. I think if every manufacturer, and I've said it before, if every manufacturer said the same thing, it'd be awesome. And just like the Captain CT said in the below, people would be pissed, but at the end of the day, they're still going to go out and buy it because everyone drinks the Apple Kool-Aid.
All right, so let's get off Apple because we both hate Apple. Hey, speak for yourself, buddy.
Yeah, I'll just scratch off my Apple tattoo.
If you guys have any questions, ask in the comments. I mean, the chat over below, either below you if you're on a mobile device, or over to the right if you're on a computer. Also, we do this live every
Thursday.
Damn. Every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, we start. It usually lasts between 45 minutes to an hour. You can subscribe to this podcast. It's an audio-only feed on iTunes, Google, and basically any podcast provider that you use. So definitely subscribe. He's Initial Focus. Look for him on Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm all messed up. Look for him on Twitter, fine, but more on YouTube. He's awesome. I would not work with him honestly if I didn't believe that he's one of the best on YouTube. Right now, he's awesome. He gets better and better every day. Honestly,
Thanks, Dad.
Awesome. I know I'm old enough to be your dad. So let's go to another cool story here. Let's talk about a phone that we're both very excited about.
Yes.
OnePlus 3.
Yes.
So the OnePlus 3.
Which store were we doing first?
Well, they're both basically the same. Let me start off with that it's going to launch with 1 million units, which is huge, and it's going to launch on June 14th. So June 14th is a Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, you are correct.
So June 14th is a Tuesday, and I think it was at like 10 a.m. Pacific or something like that. And this phone is very exciting for 2 reasons, because not only is there going to be 1 million units, so your chances of getting this phone before it sells out are very greatly increased. Also, there's no invite needed like in the past. In the past, to get a OnePlus 1 and a OnePlus 2, at least initially, you needed an invite.
Yep.
And people got pissed and hated that.
They had like multiple rounds of the you were basically put into categories, so they're like now shipping the first if you ordered between this date and this date, and yeah, it was a hot mess. I mean, I don't know if they expected to grow as fast as they did, and I mean, I guess if you have too many orders to fulfill, that's a good problem to have. But
the other thing I'm hearing about this phone is that it possibly could be cheaper than their phones in the past when they were launched, which is crazy because these phones are spec'd to death. So I believe they're coming out with 2 versions. One has 4 gigabytes of RAM, one has 6 gigabytes of RAM. Unless those 6 gigabyte RAM one is like $600 or $700, I'm going for that one. I don't know about you.
It's rumored to be the highest at about $425. They just about 2 weeks ago lowered their existing ones. You can get the OnePlus X, which is MKBHD named the best current budget smartphone, for $199 out of contract.
My buddy still has the OnePlus 1.
Yeah, I have the
It's
OnePlus one.
fast, dude. It's like faster than my Nexus 6P.
Yeah, I have the OnePlus 2, no big deal, signed by KBHD, Austin Evans, CLD Today, Lewis, and your average consumer.
GregglesTV.
Oh, yeah, I scratched yours off. No, I'm kidding. Hey, I offered this up on Patreon for $10,000. Yeah, you're right. 6 gigs of RAM would be crazy. Now, obviously, people always ask like how they cut corners and things like that. I have AT&T's fiber internet here, and so like the Wi-Fi card, when me and Greg talk about OnePlus, it's not the perfect phone. Obviously, to be around $300 or $400, to make a premium feeling and premium smartphone, it's not perfect by any means. They have to cut corners somewhere. But how, like the 5X, which is $199, is a 5-inch 1080p OLED panel. Like it's where they cut corners, I think, is the right way to cut corners. The cameras are always awesome, and I don't know. I love OnePlus, and
I'm super excited about this phone because it's for $400. Like the S7 Edge is a nice phone.
Yep.
But I'm bored of it already. I never used the Edge panel.
Yeah.
It started to lag on me big time at times. So I was like, fuck, I'm bored. I'm over it. So I went back to the Nexus 6P, mostly because Android N came out, and I obviously was able to get my customized case. So I'm ready to sell this, lose a little bit of money on this, and get the OnePlus phone. And also after that, the new Note. I think those are the two new phones that I'm really excited about. So I'll definitely be getting this one.
The one small thing that I really like that every Android person I've talked to, and I don't think I've asked you this question, and it's actually out of battery right now, so I can't fully show it. But I love the fact that I had the Nexus 5 was the first Android phone I tested out, and it has the on-screen. I forget what you call them, shortcut keys, or what, like the home, the back, and the multi window button. And I hate the on screen. At least the aesthetic look and the fact that it takes up our screen. So OnePlus has program, and they don't use the icons. They're just nice designed little light up dashes.
Can you customize them to be whatever, like to make the back button on the right and on the via left?
Yes, because I actually set it up the way I like, which happens to be backwards from every other Android phone. So when someone first used it, they're like, what the heck? Like, this is weird. But yeah, and so it's just 2 dashes, so that way you can have it be whatever you want, and you can program to do like a long hold opens the camera, or like a double tap or whatever.
But are they doing that on this phone? Where's the pictures?
Because it'll be,
I guess they could, because there is like a little thumbprint button or home button.
Yeah,
that looks
they always have them. You don't actually see them. Like you said, they like right now you can't see it. It would only be if the phone was on.
It's similar to what they did with the OnePlus One. You could either do on-screen buttons or you could do capacitive buttons. I love that. I think that's awesome. I don't know why. I actually am very surprised that all Android phones, even if they're on-screen buttons, why they don't allow you to change the bottom of the phone. I know that LG phones do, but nobody really else does. Samsung doesn't. Nexus phones don't. It's really surprising.
Yeah, Oxygen OS is a very, very light skin. I compare it very closely to straight the Nexus phones. They come with no bloatware. The only apps they have downloaded are the Google apps, which just like a Nexus phone. And the light touches that they have added are awesome. Like I believe they were the first skin straight from a company to add the ability to on the notification center just press and hold to reorganize them, and the app drawer. I don't know. I love Oxygen OS, and they promise every time Google comes out with the next version, within 90 days they will have the updated version of Oxygen OS.
Dude, they always put out updates, even just to optimize the phone or to fix bugs. They're always. That's what I remember having my OnePlus One. I was always getting updates,
Yeah.
always, and they're
One,
still supporting the OnePlus One. My buddy just got a Marshmallow.
I was gonna say the OnePlus One. I break it out from time to time, and it's still fast as heck. And this
I
OnePlus
know.
Two is awesome. The battery
exciting.
optimization is a definitely room for improvement, I think. But yeah, I probably think. Sorry to the listeners. Sorry, not sorry, but I think you and I will probably talk about OnePlus at least once at one point until June 14th.
That's true. So if you guys have any questions at all, we're about to wrap this thing up. We don't have any other stories, right?
No. Is there anything else that you've seen, just as far as like smaller stores, even maybe not computers or anything like that?
Well, I want to talk about. Hopefully, I end up reviewing this. This company, it's totally different than anything. It's not. It's kind of tech, kind of not tech related. It's this weird thing, and I'll review it most likely over the weekend, unless I don't like it. But this company sent me this portable washer, man. It's like you put your clothes in a little bowl, and you let it, and you wrap your clothes around this little thing, and it washes your clothes in a bowl. It takes about 30 minutes, and it washes your clothes. You don't hold it; it just does it on its own. It's called
That's
a
awesome.
washer. So I'm not excited, but I'm intrigued to try that.
Oh, dude, I would make the most hardcore, serious review ever on that thing. That's awesome.
Let's see.
The most interesting thing, Elon Musk was on the Code conference, and there was a bunch of people interviewed at Code conference today. But I watched his, and he's an awesome dude. But the most interesting thing that I see is running all over my Twitter feed right now in the past couple hours is that he believes or says is very plausible, essentially, that we are, in simple terms, an advanced version of The Sims. So he believes that our universe is just a very advanced simulation, which has been a religious theory for a very long time. And I just thought that was interesting that talk about, I mean, that kind of almost gives
you
you
mean, like
chills.
somebody's controlling us?
Yeah, like some super, like we are the Sims version 1000.
Oh, I actually would not be surprised, but I've always kind of thought that, to be honest with you, in a way, like we're in a fish bowl,
Yeah.
and we can always, just like there's always microcosms of, like, you put ants in an ant farm, and we're watching them, and they don't probably know we're watching them, and it's big, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think we have free reign in a lot of ways, unless we totally don't, but I think we have free reign in
Well,
ways.
I mean, if you look at like artificial intelligence, oh man, I forget the story, but there was a story just a couple weeks ago that the first robot beat a expert it's a Chinese game called Go, and what's crazy, I have no idea how to play the game. It's an intensely hard game, but like robots have, I think in the 80s, finally beat someone at chess, because chess is all about strategy and things like that. But this game actually takes into account human intuition, which a robot has never been able to copy. And so for the first time ever, a robot was able, the way they taught it to play the game was it actually played itself over and over for hours. It played itself millions of times, and it learned each time, which means that artificial intelligence can actually learn now, which I think is awesome. Obviously, scares a lot of people, and but if that's happening in 2016, I could completely see that we're an advanced simulation with the ability to have free will or artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it. But I thought that was cool. I saw that pop up on my Twitter feed, so I thought I'd bring that up.
That's cool. We're definitely in some crazy times right now in terms of computer intelligence and having it, like, I think we talked about it last show or the show before that, and actually we talked about it with Google, because Google's is like, we used to just be able to say, hey, Google, where's blah, 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 and it would be like, here it is. Now they're actually proactively asking you probing questions back.
It's learning context. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, I mean, it's kind of it doesn't scare me. I actually like it. A lot of people are scared by sharing information that a computer or a company will know, and I don't really give a crap. Whatever.
No. If they take over one day, they deserve it.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Whatever. I mean,
We deserve it.
Another
right.
cool thing I just saw here before we get going is that the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, yes, Note 7 launch event will reportedly take place in early August. So that is exciting. We got that coming up. But otherwise, yeah, we do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you come
9
on here.
p.m.
Ask
Eastern.
questions, guys. We really want this to be interactive with you guys. We want to make you part of the show. I'm thinking of eventually taking calls on here, so you guys can call a phone number and or a Google number, some kind of service if you're overseas, and have you ask questions and we can answer
I,
them that
I
way
actually
too.
figured out how to do that earlier, or thought of a system to do that earlier. So I can tell you after we're done here.
No, tell me now. I'm just kidding. Okay, well, guys,
it doesn't work.
I'm GregglesTV.
And I'm
Follow
Michael.
me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Follow me on Snapchat. I do more stuff on Snapchat probably than anywhere else. And subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Michael, give me your shout out.
I'm Michael from Initial Focus. All of our links are right below my face here. Don't follow me on Snapchat. You probably won't even. There is no Initial Focus Snapchat. I should. You know what? I'm on Beam. Yeah, I need to Beam more. Initial Focus on Beam. There you go. And then of course YouTube is the main place I am. I think I just checked our audio and video, and it still looks synced up to me. You can let us know really quickly before we wrap up here down below if audio and video is still in sync for you guys. If so, this is the first week that it's worked. And we've been trying really hard to make this as best as possible. We're both very loyal to YouTube. It's our favorite platform, so we didn't want to immediately jump ship to Twitch. And we love other platforms too, and we'd like to be on those other platforms, but our main focus currently is YouTube. So we hope this podcast turns out well. And yeah, it's been fun, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace.